Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel CloudDemoDive. So in our last video, we have built a serverless function on AWS Lambda. So today we are going to see how we can use the API gateway. So in the last video, we also see DynamoDB and few other AWS services. So today we are going to give that function a superpower, that a public endpoint that can be accessed from anywhere on the internet. So we are doing that with Amazon API gateway. So what is API gateway? So API gateway is a fully managed services that helps you create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. In simple terms, it acts as a front door for your application. It takes a web request from user and routes it to the correct backend services like Lambda function. API gateway handles all the complex stuff like traffic management, authorization, and monitoring. So you can focus on your application logic only. So this is what the Amazon API gateway is. Let's talk about some of the key concepts of Amazon API gateway. So when we work with Amazon API gateway, there are three main components to understand. First one is the API gateway endpoint, which is the unique URL that user will access. Second is the method, which defines the type of web request. Either it is get, post, delete, and else. And the third one is the Lambda integration. Lambda integration, which is the direct connection we will create between the API gateway endpoint and the Lambda function. So these are the three main concepts of Amazon API gateway. So in this hands-on lab, what we are going to do? So in this lab, we are going to put our serverless knowledge to work. We will start by creating a simple Lambda function that returns a random question and answer. Then we will create an API gateway endpoint like in our function and then we will test it from our web browser to see the microservices in action. So it's kind of a simple web application we will create in which we use the API gateway to access from outside the world, and then behind the scene this API gateway will call the Lambda functions to invoke the functions. So let's get started. Yeah, so in this next video, that is on hands-on demo on AWS API gateway. So we have to log into your AWS skill builder portal, in which we are doing this video series on AWS skill builder series. We have this learning plan already there. So we have to log into your account and then just click on this learning plan. In this learning plan, we already covered quite a few videos, like around 6 or 7 services we already talked, in which S3, IAM, DynamoDB, Lambda functions, and others. You can see all those we are completed. So today in this lab, we are going to see the Amazon API gateway. So just click on go to training, and then we have the page to start our hands-on demo with the which is created by the AWS training and certification team. So just click on start, and it will create a document for us. They will provide us a document in which the whole hands-on guide will be there, how we are going to do this hands-on. So sometimes it requires sign in, so sometime it will by default takes the sign in and log into the page and creates the document for us. Just wait for a few minutes. It will The lab document will be ready for us, and then we will do the hands-on. So you can see, from AWS training and certification team, they will create the lab for us in which we will do the hands-on, and we have some tasks associated in this lab. As if you go through this whole document, you will see it describes the topic as well, what is Amazon API gateway, what we are going to do, and how we are going to do the whole lab. It describes all the process. So in this one, we have two tasks: creating the Lambda function and then testing the Lambda function by attaching the API gateway to it. So to start the lab, just click on start lab by agreeing that accept terms and condition, and just click on start lab. It will create a lab environment for us, AWS console. It will provide us an AWS console. So just click on open console. This console, which has the limited access, you will not allow to do anything on this. Only the required actions, like required action which is mentioned in this, you will be able to do that only. So this is the AWS lab user it created. So we have our AWS account ready. So let's get started and do the hands-on on Amazon API gateway. So our first task is to create a Lambda function. So just go to the Lambda function, choose the Lambda function and create a function. Uh, Click on create a function. Select the author from scratch, and in the basic information section configure the following. As this is the for the function name, we will put it as FAQ. Then the runtime we will choose as node.js 18.x, and in the default execution rule, we have one execution rule already in place, that is lambda basic execution. We have to choose that execution rule, and next we will expand the additional configuration section. So let's do first these setups, and then we will do the next one. Just go to this console page, click on lambda. We will uh, we have to create a new function. We have to start from author from scratch. We just function name as FAQ. Give me a paste it FAQ. In runtime, we will choose node 18.x if it is there. So I think it is not here. So we will choose node.js 22, I think, or you can just search for the node one, I think. Yeah, so only 22 and 20 is there. So we will choose 20 because it says node 18.x, but we will choose 21 because 18 is not supported right now. Next, we have to change the default execution rule and choose existing rule. Here we have to choose the lambda basic execution. Next, we have to set some additional configurations here. So just go to the document and just see what are the additional configurations we need. So in additional configuration, we have to choose the VPC. Then we have to choose the CIDR range of 10.00.16. In subnet, we will choose the subnet range of 10.1.24 and 10.2.24. For security group, we will choose the lambda security group, which has the name with lambda security group, and then we will create this function. Just going here, VPC, we have to enable that. Then we will choose the VPC name with this one. Then we will choose two subnets here, 1 and 2, and then we will choose the security group with it, which contains lambda security group inside it. So just selecting this one. After setting all this configuration, just click on create function. Once this create function will create, it will establish, it will creating the function behind the scene. Yeah, you will have this getting started for the first time when you started creating function for the first time in your AWS account. Just click on cross or dismiss here. So I'm just clicking here. So our function is ready. We have to now code in this function and how we want to do in this thing. So we have our getting started pop up. We will choose the dismiss, click here. Next, creating a VPC attached lambda takes few minutes because it will uh, attach the VPC to this function. So it will create, like, it will take 1 or 2 minutes to create this function. Till the time after it will create the successful, like, it will pop up with something like this: successfully created the function FAQ. Then we will use, we will code it into the lambda function, and we will be using this code, we will be using this function. So next, what we are going to do, we are going to go to the code tab, and then we will edit the code source in index.js file. By default, the content displayed under index.js tab. Copy the code. We are using this code only to Q&A because this is the FAQ function which we are creating. So we are just using this. We have to just copy this function and paste it to this index.js, because you can see index.mjs right now, because this is the next version of node. So that is why its extension is mjs. So yeah, in this lab they mentioned that it should be 18, so we don't have right now 18 in the system. So yeah, that's good, that's not the problem. So we will copy this code and paste it, and we will go through the code, like what this code is. So you can see we have one JSON variable declared with service name is lambda, and this is the reference URL for this service, and it has a lot of questions and answers related to the AWS service, like what is AWS lambda function, what is lambda isolated my code, how does we can isolate my code, and like around 10 to 15, 20 questions are there. Next we will create in this a create function. A function is there which takes the event and context from the function, and based on the random variable it will just randomly picks any of the questions and its length, and then it logs that onto the console. So this is the whole function which is created. So you can see now our function is ready. Now we can change the code and configuration, and to invoke our function we will choose the test tab here. So let's just replace the code right up here with the copied code we have. After that we have to just deploy this function. So this function basically defines a list of FAQs and returns a random FAQ at one time. So just after say pasting the code here, just click on deploy, so it will save the code and deploy the code into the Lambda function. So our first task is complete. We successfully deployed this function. We successfully created a Lambda function for the FAQ, and now it's time to create an API gateway endpoint, and then we will test it. So to create an API gateway endpoint, choose the configuration tabs, go to the general configuration and choose on it. In the description we will provide a random FAQ and click on save. So just go to the configuration tab. In general configuration, let's just edit its description, like what's its functionality is, provide a random FAQ and just click on save. So this is the functional overview which we are setting here first, and then we will add the API gateway here. So how we can add the API gateway? So it is AWS Lambda function can be triggered automatically by hitting the different data services which you got, like from Kinesis, DynamoDB database, like where you want to trigger, it will trigger the database. So locate the function overview section, and in the top console here we have to add the trigger where we want to trigger that Lambda function to invoke this function. So in this we will select the source as API gateway. For intent we will create a new API. In API type we will choose the REST API and security as an open. So in security we have IAM and open option. So if we have an IAM, then only the selected users and selected which users are allowed, they will be able to use that. In open everyone will be able to access that from anywhere. So we will select open, and in the additional settings we will keep the API name as if FAQ API, and the deployment stage we will enter as my deployment. So let's just create the trigger for it. We are into the function overview section. Click on add trigger. Here we have to choose the API gateway. Next we have to choose create a new API gateway. We will choose the REST API. In security we are choosing open. We have one IAM section as well, but we are going with the open one. In the additional configuration I am pasting the API name as FAQ API. In deployment stage we are setting it as my deployment. So I'm just pasting it here, and after doing all these things just click on add. So this will create a API gateway behind the scene, Amazon API gateway, and attached this API gateway to this Lambda function. You can see right up here. Just click on it. You can see this is the API gateway it creates, and it will attach it to the Lambda function to trigger this. Now our task is completed. We created the Lambda function and we attached the API to it. Now it's time to test the Lambda function. So we have to go to the configuration tab and select the triggers navigation menu on the left. You can see if we click on this, they will be landing onto the same page, configuration and triggers. Here we have the API endpoint as well. In the expand section you have the details of your API. Copy the endpoint section in the clipboard and open it into the new portal. So just copy this link and open it in the new tab. So if you open it into a new tab, it will the call the function and just return the answer as well, like random FAQ. If you just refresh it, it will return every time a new question and answer. You can see what if I need scratch. Every time we refresh we will get a random FAQ from the function. So this is how it works. a random FAQ entry of Lambda code is displayed on the web page. So in this way we will be able to test this Lambda function. We can also test the Lambda function from the Lambda management console as well by creating a test event. For that we have to just go to the test tab and create a test like basic event and keep an empty JSON, because we don't it does not requires any uh, input from it. So just go to the test and create a new event, basic event, and in the event JSON we have to just keep it as a blank event and just clicking on save. And after saving this you can just click on test. So once you click on test you can see it returns a random FAQ quick question and answer. It will return the QA. So in this way you will be able to test it from the AWS Lambda console itself. So next, if you want to monitor the things from the CloudWatch logs, you can just go to the monitor tab and view the CloudWatch logs. How many times the function will be invoking, and if any errors, if what are the expected outputs, how many times the functions are called. All these things you will be able to see on the monitor tab in the view CloudWatch logs. You can see right up here. So we can let's just see the logs of this Lambda function. It will open in a log group. By default it create a log group with this Lambda and FAQ. Here we have all the logs. You can see this is the recent one. Can I access the infrastructure at AWS Lambda run on? So if you just go here, yeah, you can see this is the recent one. So yeah, in this way we can just check the logs uh, of the Lambda functions here. So this is a small demo and how the Amazon API gateway works for the beginner. You can also try it using your own hands by creating this account and all these things. So this series is available till 2nd of October. So better you just do this hands on and get the certification, get the certificate of doing that. So yeah, in this, so that's it for this hands on part. Now we have to complete this knowledge check. So just come launch this knowledge check, click on here. It will create an assessment for us of 5 questions. We have to answer any four, but we will try to answer all the 5 questions. So just click on begin the test. So let's start. What is the first step of creating an API gateway endpoint from Lambda console? So we have to first choose to create API, select the Lambda function, define API resource, configure API setting. We have to first API gateway endpoint from the Lambda console. Choose to create API. So I think that's the first step. Define API resource, configure API settings. I think the first step is to choose to create a new API. Let me just go to the next question. Which AWS server allowed to create a new test event from testing Lambda from its within its console? So it's AWS Lambda only. That is, what is the primary purpose of creating an API gateway endpoint? To store API data? No. Authenticate API user, to provide URL for accessing your API, to process API requests. Yeah, so it provides a URL because it's an endpoint. Each AWS service is used to create HTTP endpoint for invoking a Lambda function. To invoking a Lambda function, create an HTTP endpoint. So we will use the Amazon API gateway. Which services allows you to run code without provisioning or managing server? That is AWS Lambda. That is because this is the serverless thing. So let's finish this. Oh, we have one incorrect answer, but we passed this job. Let's see what's the incorrect one. What is the first step? Okay, the first step is to select the Lambda function. Okay, so yeah, I thought this option appears after selecting the Lambda function, not in the first step. Yeah, correct. So this is the one. So by the way, we are successfully passed this assessment. If you just go here and just you can see the result is 1 on 1. Just click on submit the result. Now we are good to go. We are done with the hands-on. So we have to end this lab and by clicking here and complete the lab and complete lab. So in this way we successfully do the hands-on on AWS Amazon API gateway. So you can just go through these resources to know more about this Amazon API gateway. So for this hands-on, this is the whole part. Now next you have to go to this page, and you will be saying that this you have completed this training. Just rate it, and we click on view next. You have a certificate ready for this one. Just click on that. If you not able to see, just refresh the page, you will be able to see the certificate as well. So let me just show it to you. So here you can see in the outline section, we again I'm submitting it, and you can see view and download. So yeah, we successfully completed that. And now this training is we also completed on Amazon API gateway in the AWS skill builder series. If you can just go and refresh this page, you will be able to see that we are completing this Amazon API gateway as well. So in our next video, we will see the introduction to Amazon CloudFront, and then we will end this AWS skill builder series with performing a basic audit on our AWS environment. Hope you guys like this video. So don't forget to follow my channel and keep learning. Thanks.